Welcome to episode number 116 of the On Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We're recording live on Google Hangouts on air on October 17, 2015. We always start off with the worst stories of the week, and BL always has the honors. What was the worst story of the week in communications this last week?
Well, this is from the You Really Just Can't Make This Stuff Up department. A Meerkat expert was involved in a love triangle at a zoo, and she attacked a monkey handler rival. She was ordered to pay compensation to the monkey handler she attacked with a wine glass in a love spat over a llama keeper who had apparently dated both the monkey handler and Carolyn Westlake, who had to pay $1,235 to Kate Sanders for assaulting her in a dispute over their colleague Adam Davies. The judge also sentenced Westlake to 12 months of community service for the assault. And as of Wednesday, I haven't looked since then, there had already been more than 300 tweets about this story.
Wow.
You just can't make that stuff up. And it finds its way to social media, which is my favorite part about it.
Yeah. So this is a story not necessarily of love, but more of lust. Target had an incident last week where porn was playing over their intercom in a California store. Found this from a Star Tribune article by Paul Walsh. So on Wednesday morning, San Jose, California Target store, shoppers were interrupted with a string of pornographic moans and groans and profanity. Oh my God. Customer Gina Young recorded it. She was in the store. She recorded about 30 seconds of it, the audio, and posted it to her Facebook page. By late Thursday afternoon, it had more than 275,000 views. Her YouTube video, as of today, has 1.6 million views. 30 seconds of her recording it from her phone. She said the erotic intrusion had stopped for about 2 minutes and then started up again, lasted roughly 15 minutes in all. Target issued a statement. Molly Snyder, Target spokeswoman, said, we are actively reviewing the situation with the team to better understand what happened. And to help ensure this doesn't happen again, because this is an active investigation, I'm unable to share additional details, but we want our guests to know that we take this very seriously, I would think. But this is the second time in recent months that pornographic audio has invaded a Target store in California. In July, much the same thing happened at a Target store in San Luis Obispo. So how does this happen? I mean, obviously it's an inside job, because, how else? But twice? So it appears someone is deliberately obtaining employment at Target just to sabotage them.
That is hilarious.
I don't know, unless somehow the PA system is connected online some way and maybe they got hacked, but otherwise I don't see how that could be, but it's strange.
That's so good. I think that's hilarious. That really is. Well, I have nowhere near as interesting as that, really. Excuse me, I'm a little sick. We had the Twitter debacle of the week. And this week, it's from a Huffington Post article that was sent to me by Joan Stewart, the publicity hound. It was written by Willa Frege. And for some bizarre reason, there's a NoBraDay holiday noted on Facebook. And it was timed this year to occur during Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. And for NoBraDay, women are encouraged to go braless and post photos using the hashtag NoBraDay. And guess what? It backfired. What a surprise. The hashtag incited some very serious backlash because women were claiming that it only over-sexualizes women's bodies and it belittles a very serious disease. And as many of the survivors of cancer noted on Twitter, not wearing a bra does not save lives. And Iris Augustat made the very clever suggestion. How about instead of NoBraDay, we change it to schedule a mammogram day so we actually help raise awareness and stop sexualizing breast cancer. I don't really understand what's wrong with people when it comes to this subject, but last week there was show your strap and show your scar. And, we talk about this every week. when people come up with these ideas in meetings and other people go, that's a good idea, let's go with that. What the hell is wrong with them?
It's astounding. It's astounding. I mean, really. Where's the no person? Where's the what? Hey, wait a minute person.
Yeah, right. You know, like let's look at this, you know.
Yeah.
But I have to say that there was an extraordinary article that Sheryl Sandberg pointed out that was, if women, I really should have had this in the show notes, if women had ushered famous statements in meetings, and so if that person was a woman, she would have had to say, instead of, look, you idiots, you can't do that, in which case we are, considered to be hostile women, we would have had to say, I was just kind of thinking, like, maybe there might be like some people who wouldn't like that. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I saw that. I retweeted that from our someone on our advertising side had tweeted that, and I saw that it was pretty spot on.
Really sad but true, you know. What else did you find?
So speaking of language, so this is a hilarious piece on Quartz about Jack Dorsey, Twitter's now official CEO, in his jargon-filled memo about firing 300 people. So this is from a reporter, Gideon Litchfield, and he took Dorsey's memo and rewrote it so that it would be in plain English. So a sample of it. From Jack Dorsey to all employees, date October 13, subject a more focused Twitter. So this is, I'm gonna highlight the areas where Dorsey is speaking and what was struck out and rewritten by Litchfield. We are, quote unquote, moving forward with a restructuring of our workforce. That struck, and Litchfield replaced it with cutting our staff.
Right, let's call it what it is. There you
go. Call it what it is. So we can, quote, put our company on a stronger path to growth, which was struck and replaced with spend the money better. And then he goes on, emails like this are usually riddled with corporate speak, so I'm going to give it to you straight, which of course Jack Dorsey doesn't. The team has been working around the clock to, quote, produce streamlined roadmap for, which is replaced with simplify our plans, for Twitter, Vine, and Periscope, and they're shaping up to be strong. The roadmap is focused on, quote, the experiences which will have the greatest impact, and that's struck and replaced with doing stuff we hope people will like. It goes on. It's brilliant. You got to read it. It's hilarious because it's just complete jargon-filled stuff. After Dorsey set it up with saying he wasn't going to use jargon, plain English, people. I mean, jargon.
That's really hard for people, and I'm sad to hear that it's even hard at Twitter.
Yeah. You'd think it'd be easier at Twitter because they're conditioned by the 140 character.
Right, you would really think. Well, the next one you have, that's really incredible. The one about the woman who was arrested.
Oh, so there was a woman arrested who she was arrested because she had live streamed herself drunk driving. This is from WTSP in Tampa Bay, Florida. Reporter's name is Garen Flowers. So a 23-year-old Florida woman live streamed herself drunk driving on Periscope. She was pretty wasted. She was driving with a flat tire. Her viewers were trying to convince her to pull over and stop and get the hell off the road. One viewer called 911 and stated that there was a female was driving in the North Lakeland area, but he couldn't provide a specific location. The fact that the young woman live streamed herself drunk driving is not the most shocking thing about this story. That's just kind of sad. The most shocking thing is that the Lakeland Police Department don't provide officers with access to Periscope and other as an authorized software. So they didn't have the ability to track or monitor her actions. One officer took the initiative and downloaded it and opened up the personal account so that he could try and find her. The incident has sparked Lakeland PD to train their officers on how to use Periscope and emerging technology so they'll be ready when something else like this occurs. Why wasn't that obvious? Why wasn't that obvious from the beginning?
Well, speaking of police, here are the New York police going by. No, that was mind-blowing. I mean, she could have killed herself and others, and apparently she was going quite fast as well. I mean, how you could go fast with a flat tire is another question that that brings up. But I do think that brings us on to better news, yes?
No, one more short one for me.
Okay.
This comes from the irony department. Apple is blocking ad blocking apps that block ads.
How do they
this
do
is from
that?
a business. This is from a Business Insider story by Laura O'Reilly. Bean Choice, B-E-N Choice app. It's an iOS ad blocker that claims to block all ads within apps. So remember when Apple allowed ad blocking apps in their app store, it was on mobile websites, but not within apps themselves. So Apple removed this from the App Store last week, citing security concerns about the method it used to identify ads. Bean Choice co-founders team will resubmit the app. But now he thinks that it's unlikely the in-app blocking tool will be welcome back in the App Store, and for that reason, he's resubmitting the app without the ad blocking capability. Yoon said that Apple had that the app had placed Apple in a conundrum over user privacy and user choice to block ads. Why? Well, it would block ads within apps like Facebook and, wait for it, Apple's own news app. So Apple's fine when ads are being blocked by ads from a competitor, but when it's
Your own ads
are going to be blocked, well, that's a different story.
I'm actually going to a conference, I think in 2 weeks, on this very topic, and we'll report on what the industry has to say. It's a really serious issue, you know, because content is not free. Somebody has to pay for content. This is an age-old issue, and it's just heating up big time. And the whole issue of Ad Age was about it this week. There were some very interesting articles. I wasn't sure whether this one should be in the good news or the bad news, honestly, but the UConn student who was involved in that Mac and Cheese debacle, he issued where he demanded mac and cheese and carried on. He was completely drunk and he was wrestled to the floor by the security guards and students. And anyway, he now has issued, David Owens in the Hartford Courant reported on this, and he issued a video on YouTube, and he said he was ashamed and he'd acted like an asshole and that his big mouth has always gotten him in trouble. That had 158,000 views just in the first 24 hours. And, you know, he said nobody deserves to be treated the way he did. He didn't even recognize himself. He couldn't believe he behaved that way. That wasn't like him, blah, blah, blah. I hope for his sake that he gets into a program that can help him. He clearly has a drinking problem.
Yeah, and that woman as well. I mean, you can make poor decisions, but she was so wasted, and it kind of is indicative of a problem. So
kind of, yeah. So, tell us one of yours, Dave.
So we've discussed Reddit off and on in past podcasts. This one's about Reddit's trying to become a media company, I think.
Everybody's trying to become a media company these days.
So this is from a Digiday article by Ricardo Bilton, and Reddit has launched a new website called Upvoted, upvoted.com, launched on Tuesday, and it appears to be Reddit's attempt at sourcing the best of their community via original content and even original reporting. So a lot of media get story ideas from Reddit. They follow Reddit and get ideas for stories, and that's Reddit's, eating their own dog food now. They're going to try and do the same thing. Meant to be a more welcoming counterpart to Reddit itself, home to conversations that are that brands often don't want to be associated with, and to members that are often hostile to brands. So this looks like it's sort of distancing the content from the membership of Reddit in order to make a space where people can advertise in, basically. So we'll see. As a marketer, now I'll probably have to start paying more serious attention to Reddit as a potential place for brands, but we'll see how it goes.
I mean, they have some really interesting communities there, and they have been a grassroots support for Bernie Sanders. So, we'll see what role they're going to play in the election and what role this will. But everybody wants to be a media company. Yeah. How many can there be?
Well, it's getting tougher these days with ads blocking, so.
Well, that's just it. And, native advertising is, for the most part, just a bunch of baloney. Anyway, speaking of becoming a media company, YouTube's launching their first movie. It's called Dance Camp, and the source was Todd Spangler in Variety, and it's a teen-targeted movie. It's from YouTube and Awesomeness Films. They made the hit Smosh the movie, and it's kind of partnered on, based on the Disney formula of movies like High School Musical, Teen Beach Movie, and they have big song and dance numbers, but it's kind of a storyline geared to an older skewing crowd. They're trying to be kind of everything to everybody. So it stars the very popular YouTuber Meg DeAngelis and actor-dancer Najee Jeter from Grown Ups, and the top Vine creator Jake Paul. And in the movie, Jeter's sent to a dance camp and is filled with all these misfits, and it's punishment by his mom after he throws a house party. And at first he doesn't want to take the camp seriously, but a rival dancer prompts him to step up his game, and along the way he finds friendship and love with Cheyenne DeAngelis. And just because somebody's huge on YouTube or Vine or Snapchat or Instagram for that matter, doesn't mean they have acting chops required to be in a movie. So there's that, but there was another wrinkle. They had to be able to dance. So they had to do dance auditions before they got the part, and they want to develop the movie into a brand. There's going to be a soundtrack album and all kinds of marketing goodies. So here we go. YouTube making movies and Netflix in movie theaters, and it's all just kind of strange.
Yeah. I will be curious to see how that works out for YouTube. It sounds like a movie I will absolutely not want to see.
I know, it sounds awful. It sounds like a straight to late night weird channel movie, but
straight to YouTube movie.
But Netflix has a film which I've been reading about that's opening in movie theaters. It's the film about the boy soldiers in, I think, Liberia, and everybody wants to be where the money is, and that's really and they don't know where that is anymore.
I'll pretty much watch most everything that knows, because watching Narcos right now, it's really good. and it's the kind of TV show that you need to pay attention to because it has subtitles.
Now there's a way to get people to pay attention, have subtitles.
Yeah. So speaking of attention, you remember Dressgate, right?
Yeah.
Is it white and gold, or is it black and blue dress controversy that nearly broke the internet? Well, here's a follow-up to that. This is from The Telegraph. Reporter is Sarah Napton. And so the bodycon Roman Originals dress illusion that baffled the world when it was posted to Twitter in February and retweeted by Taylor Swift, of course, that's why it broke the internet. Was it white or gold or black or white? BL, how did you see it?
I saw it as blue and black.
Yeah, and I saw it as white and gold. So it turns out there's a scientific explanation for this. After placing an MRI scanner and asking them to look at the image, researchers noticed subtle changes in how the brain was functioning. So people who saw the dress as white and gold had extra activity in the front and parietal areas of the brain, which are particularly important for visual perception, mental reasoning, and selective attention. So their brains, in other words, were working extra hard to make sense of the image, which led them to take an extra mental step and believe that the blue color was actually a shadow on a white dress. The article quotes Tobias Schmidt-Wilke of the University Clinic Bergmannschiel. Based on the research findings, we were able to quantify the brain areas involved in the process. Thus, we have laid a foundation for further research in the field of visual processing. Science! Way to go, science!
But wait.
So the internet's contribution.
Did whoever posted the picture know that, or they?
No, it was just an
that was
illusion
random
that they
posted.
Noticed. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's fascinating turn where an internet phenomena has actually contributed to scientific understanding.
I love that story. So this week, Twitter has beat Facebook to compensating video publishers. There's a whole big brouhaha about how when YouTube videos are placed on Facebook and sometimes get millions of views, unfortunately, most unfortunately, the creator of the video on YouTube doesn't get their advertising revenue because they don't even know the thing is playing on Facebook because Facebook's not searchable in the same way that YouTube is. So Twitter, recognizing that that's an issue, they expanded their Amplify program to make it easier for publishers to monetize their videos. And this is from Adam Levy and Motley Fool. And, you know, what he said is there's no greater motivator than money. And if a distribution platform wants to attract top content, the best way to get it is paying for it. So YouTube and Facebook have gotten tons of content without paying a dime for it. And YouTube is now trying to attract content by better revenue splits and pre-rolls. But that's especially important because now there's all this competition from Facebook and Twitter. So Twitter is amplifying, expanding its Amplify video advertising program. So it's easier for advertisers to show pre-roll ads on video content, and it's extremely easy for publishers to monetize the videos they upload to Twitter. Facebook still has no compensation for uploading videos to its platform, but they recently reported that they're going to develop some form of revenue planning with select publishers. That's Facebook's game. Everything is with select users and select publishers, and advertising against videos is supposedly going to involve suggested video feeds, and revenue will be split based on a watch time for each video. But is really serious because there are a lot of people who make a living with the videos that they make. And so the way that these revenues are handled is a very big deal. And, you know, they're providing the content. Hello.
Yeah. So, I mean, Facebook has a zillion people. Everybody's on Facebook. So they can wait it out and say, well, you know, we'll just
they can do whatever they want.
We'll give this content and you guys will just have to deal with it. But if they don't have a a system in place for recognizing copyrighted content like YouTube does,
right? Exactly.
Then that's a class action lawsuit waiting to happen. I mean, seriously, they've got to figure that out.
Yeah, they really do, because you're absolutely right. That is what will happen. So on a much, much lighter note, I love this story. It's a restaurant in Australia called Chicken Treat, and they have the hashtag Chicken Tweet because they have Betty, the first tweeting chicken. And Betty is trying to get a Guinness World Record by tweeting a 5-letter word or more by October 30th. So far, the best she's done is the 3-letter word, BUM, and they immediately tweeted and said, come on, Betty, keep it clean. And it's a 30-year-old Australian chicken restaurant with a wonderful sense of humor. She's on Instagram and Periscope, and they have a Periscope tour of her coop every day. And, you know, they say on their website, and I love them for it, with years of experience, Chicken Treat combines creative and effective marketing tools with strong branding in its advertising and local marketing and an innovative approach to product development. And I love it when brands have a sense of humor. And Betty's adorable, but Betty's not the first dirty chicken on the internet. That honor went to the subservient chicken, who was pretty much the first viral sensation on the internet back in 2004. And he was a man dressed in a chicken suit wearing stockings and garters. And he racked up 1 billion views. And he would basically do anything you asked him to do, unless what you asked him was racy, and then he would come up to the screen and we go, that's very bad.
I'm glad you mentioned subservient chicken, because as you're talking, I was racking my brains to try and remember that exactly one. So.
Well, they tried to bring him back on their 10th anniversary in 2014, but it was kind of, it didn't work. Like, things have their time and place, I think, and that was his. And it was sufficiently weird. There's no indication that he ever actually sold chicken. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, they were trying to bring the brand to a younger male audience, and perhaps that did that. But I certainly was fascinated by it, and so was everyone else I knew. And it was from Crispin Porter, and they said that they had sent it to, it was like a joke, and they sent it to a few friends, and then it just exploded, and they were like, wow, we weren't really sure this was what was going to happen. And then once it happens, you go with it. Everybody prays for that.
That's pretty cool. Another cool thing that I found is a photograph series of haunting photo images or photographs of people looking at their mobile devices, but removing the mobile devices from the photo. So this is from Good magazine, Good website, by Craig Carilli, and the photographer is Eric Pickersgill. He created a brilliant photo series called Removed, and had his subjects perform activities we see every day, and then remove the tablet or phone from their hands, but had them hold their stairs. He was inspired to do this project after watching a family interact in a cafe in Troy, New York. Quote, the family sitting next to me at Ilium Cafe in Troy, New York is so disconnected from one another. Not much talking. Father and two daughters have their own phones out. Mom doesn't have one or chooses to leave it put away. She stares out the window, sad and alone in the company of her closest family. And so, of course, the picture is worth 1,000 words. You can see the photos at removed.social. That's one of those new domain extensions, remove.social. It's very cool.
That's very interesting. I also came across a Google site that did some very strange things to photographs. I'll bring it into the show next week. It was fascinating. It just made things look completely different than they are by taking out that's what reminded me of it, removing some of the background to it. So I believe that brings us to shiny new stuff.
It does. You've got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, well, talking about more media, Paramount Studio recently launched a YouTube channel called the Paramount Vault, and it has hundreds of titles from their backlog, their back catalog, and they're not all Oscar winners, but there's definitely cult classics and some really great gems. So you want to take a look at that because some of that is really a lot of fun.
Very cool. I've just got one. It's I came across this in the legal, I think This Week in Law podcast. I think is where I heard it. It's called Wikidata, and so wikidata.org is Wikimedia, the foundation that brings you Wikipedia and wiki quotes and all that. Created this Wikidata. It's a free linked database that can be read and edited by both humans and machines. It acts as central storage of the structured data of its Wikimedia sister projects, including Wikipedia, Wikivoyage, Wikisource, and others. It appears to be basically an API for Wikimedia projects data. So I don't know exactly how this will play out, but it's an interesting sort of crowdsource project.
Got to take a look at that. I'm trying something called FrontPageIt. There have been things like this before. It's human-curated content, and they claim that they're going to eliminate clickbait headlines, and you can nominate thought leaders for them to follow, which is what I found interesting about it. The other thing I found that I just love, it was a video that demonstrates something called skull mapping, and this is called Le Petit Chef, and it's a video on YouTube, and people are seated at a table, and out of the table, this is the skull mapping part, this little chef comes up out of the table, and he brings out a grill, and he puts food on the grill and grills it, and you see all this happening on the table, and then he puts it on their plate and serves them and then disappears back into the table. And this is called skull mapping. You got to see it. It's just really quite wonderful, and and what a great demonstration by the company whose name I forgot to include here that we'll put in the show notes. And the other thing I found is called Know Your Mem. I've never been quite sure how you pronounce that word. Is it mem? Is that right?
Meme.
Know Your Meme. And
Yep.
it's a website that's dedicated to documenting internet phenomenon like viral videos and image macros and web celebrities and catchphrases. And it researches and documents memes and viral phenomenon. And it's it was founded in 2008. And it's handled by an independent professional editorial and research staff and community members. And the site grew to where it reaches more than 9.5 million people every month. And it's considered the most authoritative source on news and history and origins of viral phenomenons. And like wikis, a registered member can submit a meme or viral phenomenon for research. And currently trending there is Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's a great place for trend watchers too, to keep an eye on
I wasn't familiar with it, and now I can't kind of leave it alone, you know?
Exactly. Yep.
So that brings us to projects. You have some, right?
I do, yeah. So I was quoted in an article, 15 business communication tips to help you conquer the corporate world. It's by Aaron Lawrence. We'll put a link to it in the show notes. It's for the Rasmussen College blog. My advice was don't complain. So if you're at work, don't be that person that complains about everything, because you're just gonna, tune people out. And then I got another thing, a blog post that I just wrote for our agency blog about social selling, which is a misnomer. The idea is that you use social media to build trust and relationships that lead to sales, but don't use social for direct selling. So I wrote a post about how to do that. It's based on some data from HubSpot's new State of Inbound Marketing 2015 report. It's pretty big. You can download the report at the end of the post. So we'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. You've got some news too, don't you?
Yes, but we did a Ray to Go show on social selling, and the topic was, is it a creepy thing to do?
Yes.
I mean,
the answer is yes, but it's also, it's all public data. So if you want to learn about somebody, go to LinkedIn. So
this week on the 21st, by which time I'm going to be all better and not sound like I do, 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern, I'm hosting a Communications Week panel on the video revolution in marketing. And I have wonderful guests. I have Bethany Simpson from iMedia Connection, and she has hosted more than 500 video interviews of corporate and online CEOs. And I also have Ian Chi, who's the Director of Strategy for MRY, and their clients include some really big names. They have Visa, they have Microsoft, they have Sony, and of course video are part of what they do. And I also have Hillel Scheinberg, I think is his last name, and he's the CEO and co-founder of Viewbix, which is a viewer that helps advertisers find the ROI of their videos on Twitter and YouTube. And 80,000 companies use it. So it should be an interesting discussion. I hope you will join us. There's a post about it on Medium, and there's a splash page and the site itself. So those links will be in the show notes. And Dave, we should talk about how we're going to change our time.
Yes, we should. Yes. So the chat. I've asked BL, and BL's graciously agreed to move our time slot to Saturday evenings rather than the 11:30, 12:30 slot we've been doing. So we're going to start broadcasting next week at 6 p.m. Eastern. Is that right? Is that what you agreed to?
I think so.
5 p.m. Eastern?
6, I think it was
5 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, is that it?
Well, it might be 6 p.m. Eastern.
6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. I'm figuring out. I need clocks, world clocks here, so I can figure out the time zones.
We'll let you know.
We'll let you know. We'll keep it in the event invite. So.
We actually think that it will allow us to do a pre-show blab, because now we're rushing around because it's morning, and also to actually reach a different audience than we reach now. So we're just experimenting.
Yep, and you'll always be able to get it on the replay if you can't make that time slot. for the live broadcast. So
and
so we would
on
always-
iTunes and Stitcher. You can get the audio on iTunes and Stitcher.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up. Daily numbers. It is October, so we have some Halloween marketing stats. This comes from a history.com infographic. 50% of Americans decorate their yards for Halloween. 72% of adult Americans report handing out candy on Halloween. 30% of kids report that they sort their candy after returning home from trick. Admit to sneaking goodies from their kids' Halloween trick-or-treat bags. Shame on you.
Unfortunately, the kids in my building come around and I get all the candy and, you know, I eat half of it before they arrive. And then as soon as they're gone, like I take what extra candy there is and I rush downstairs, I give it to the doorman. And apparently all the women in the building do that. The doorman has mounds of Halloween candy. Oh, that's great. I love Halloween. I dress up and come to the door and Benny dresses up. We have a great time on Halloween. So we'll be back next week, not the same time. We'll be back at either 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll let you know. And we do thank you for watching. And you can find us online at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com on our YouTube channel. We're BS Media Show, right, on Twitter. And bsmediashow.com on Twitter. We are on Stitcher. We are on iTunes. We try to be everywhere. Dave is at eStrategyBlog.com. He's at CreativePR.com blog, which is a great blog. You can find me. I'm at What's Next. And on Twitter, he's D. Erickson. And I'm at What's Next on Twitter. I am at what'snextblog.com. I write for Ad Age. And we hope that you will download the podcast and subscribe to our newsletter at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/newsletter. We include stuff we don't have time to include in the broadcast and some surprises, and we think you will enjoy it. We will see you next week, and we thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.